Hello everyone, can you hear me?
Yes,
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 sir.
sir.
Very
Yes,
good.
sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, right now,
Yes, sir.
okay, so
Yes, sir.
okay, thanks for your feedback. Sorry. So we already. I want to present my slides right now. So if you have a problem, then you can stop me anywhere. Okay, if you do have problem, then stop me anywhere. Since I do not have um, see any questions comes from you. So basically, I will start to use my slides to get to the chapters. Okay, so this is chapter 1. Oh, sorry. Let's see. Present now. Okay, can everyone see it? Can you verify it?
Yes. Yes, sir.
Very well.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
All right. Cool. So this is the 5 basic quantities based on what you learn on the videos. So in the videos, I already stated about base quantities, length, mass, time, temperature, and current with its own SI units together with the symbols. Okay, the symbols for what? What is the main more important thing for this base quantity? You must when you do um, memorize the base quantity, you must know that the base quantity is where you get the derived quantities. So it starts from the base quantities. Okay, so this is the derived quantities, examples of derived quantities. And for let's say we do have a velocity, acceleration, force. It's all falls under derived quantities. Because why we can show that this one is a derived quantities, because it's not in the base quantity. So as simple as that. Okay, so this one is the approximate value. I think it's not much doesn't important to memorize all this. Okay, it's just an approximation values. Okay, table 1.2 is also the approximate values, so don't have to memorize. Okay, this one is also the times intervals in the approximate value. Okay, so I want to highlight this one, table 1.4 from your textbook. Okay, you can see here some prefix for powers of 10 used with the metric. Okay, so this is the prefix. Why we need to learn about prefix. First of all, is because of we do have a scientific notation. Okay, let's say if the people call you, I think I can run in millisecond. Okay, if they are stating milliseconds, so what is milli? What is micro? What is deci, deca, kilo? What is mean by kilogram? Okay, what's the meaning of nanometers? Okay, so if they are talking about prefix, so you should know. Okay, just knowing the name of the prefix is not important, but you need to know how to memorize the prefix name and also the power that involve the prefix. Okay, so there's a lot of things you can how you can you remember. You can watch the videos, you can watch the other YouTubes and how to remember the prefix is okay. Okay, then we go to the dimensional analysis. So when you talk about the dimensional analysis, we should know about a certain a certain any valid physical formula. Okay, must be dimensionally consistent. Each term must have the same dimension. So we need to do some analysis. Okay, when we talk about analysis, meaning that we need to do something to prove that either the equation is correct or not. I'm saying the correct, maybe in the video saying that the equation is consistent or inconsistent. Okay, so if you look at the common things, the dimensions of some physical quantities over here, okay, you can see distance, area, volume, velocity, a lot of quantity, a lot of parameters that, but in the dimensions part, you can only see, okay, 3 letters, which is what? L, M, and T. L stands for length, M stands for mass, and T stands for time. So length, mass, and time. So we will use these three three consonants, LMT, in determining the dimensional analysis. Okay, so how to do the dimensional analysis? As Dr. Iqbal said in the videos, okay, we must make sure that on the left side of the equation must be equals to the right side of the equation. So how to do it? Okay, so let me start presenting first. Okay. Okay, so let's look at what we should know about dimensional analysis. So the dimensional analysis is like this. Okay, what is the function of the dimensional analysis? Anyone can give me what is the functions of dimensional analysis? Anyone want to try? Anyone?
To make sure that both the left side and the right side of the equation is dimensionally same.
Okay, fine. Good try. Anyone else? You want to try? What is the function of the what we need to learn, or what we need to study the dimensional analysis? Okay, maybe anyone want to try? Guess. All right. So the dimensional analysis, it have two functions. Number one is like Faik said that dimensional analysis is to check whether the equation is correct, or consistent, or inconsistent. Okay, to check the consistency of equations. Okay, consistency of equations. And of course, the second one, if you want to find, okay, determine the SI unit of any quantity. So this is the function of the dimensional analysis. First is to check the consistency of the equations. Okay, and the second one is to determine the SI unit of any quantity. Okay, let me do the consistency equations. So let's go back to our slides. Okay. So let's check the dimensional analysis, dimensional consistencies of the below equations. Okay, so check the dimensional consistency. So meaning that the question asks you to check. Okay, so if you are given a task, or if the question asks you to check the equation whether it's correct or not, so you must be able to do an analysis, meaning that you should check on the left side should equal to the right side. But what if the question is already correct, as the equation is already correct, but you need to prove it? So that's two different things. Okay, proving and shows how to check the dimensional is two different things. So you should know how to check the equations. And number two is to instead of SI unit, you need to check the dimensional consistency, meaning to check the left will be equals to right. But another thing is you maybe have to check the correctness of the equations. So if that doesn't correct, if that the left side that doesn't equal to the right side, then the equation is not correct. Okay, so okay, let me just stop this here. Okay, check the consistency, and then of course, let's see if you are given x equals to x naught plus v naught at as a VT. Okay. All right. So how to check the whether this equation is correct or not? Okay. Can everybody see it? Anyone? Can you see it?
Yes, yes.
Can.
Yes, sir.
Okay. 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 So the left side should be equal to the right side. So the left side starts with x, and normally in this question they will put x is what? Length, for example, but they just the stated length. It doesn't give you whether it's in L or M or T. We should understand. We should put that value with the L, M, and T consonant. So for x, x is generally a length. X is generally a length. So therefore, length is L. Okay. So meaning that everything that L is x is in on the left side. Okay. L is on the left side, so everything on the right side should be equals to the left side, meaning that on x naught. So what is x naught? So x naught is also length, but initial length. That's why they put not dekat kosong tu ialah length. Dan maksud dia ialah initial. Okay, x naught meaning this one is initial. Okay. Biasanya kalau kat sekolah dulu kita jumpa equation V equals to U plus AT. Betul tak? Dulu kan suka V ni final velocity, U ni initial velocity, kan? A acceleration, T time. Okay, sekarang kita cuba check yang ni. X is walaupun nama dia initial length, but it's still L. Okay. And how about V and T? So V is what? V is speed. What is speed? Speed is length over time. Okay. Speed is length over time. So therefore, L over T. And how about T? Okay, T is always T. Right? So T is always T. So right now T boleh potong atas. So therefore nampak macam mana saya tulis L will be equals to L plus L. Is this one dimensionally correct or not? Yes?
Yes.
Yes, definitely. Yes. Okay, this equation is dimensionally consistent. It said that this equation is correct. Okay, so maybe we can try another one. So let's try another one. So what if x equals to x naught plus vt plus half at squared? Okay, so much more complex equation, but then again, it based on our facts. On the left side should be equal to the right side. Okay, so what if x is also length? That was what it means. Okay. I think you should do it with me. Okay, do it together. Okay. So what is x naught? L. Okay. What is v? V is L over t. And how about t? T is t lah. And how about half? Okay, half here. Okay, is dimensionless. Okay, no dimension. Half is not no dimension, therefore we left half. Okay, just leave it there. So we just do it A. A is acceleration. Acceleration is L over T square. And how about T square? Yes. Okay, so right now we can cancel out T, and then we can get L equals to L plus L plus L. You can see every locations on the right side must be equivalent to the left side. Every place, maksudnya ada 3 tempat dekat situ, 3 tu kena L. What if, contoh dia, if I stated here as V equals to U V naught plus AT square. Does it correct or not? So let's do it together. So what is V? V is L over T. Okay, equivalent to V naught. What is V naught? L over T. And what is A? A is L over T square. And how about T square? T. Okay, and therefore, what will happen? T square will cancel out T square. And therefore, LT is equivalent to LT plus L. See? This one is on the left side. On the right side, this one correct. On the left, in this one. So therefore, the equation is not consistent. Okay? Faham kan? Okay, ada soalan? Do you have questions? Kat sini? Ada soalan tak? Tanya-tanya. Malu.
Tak ada. Faham sir.
Okay, great. So let's move.
No sir.
Okay, good. So let's go to the measurement and significant figures. So here you can see the rules for the significant figures, and also decimal point. Okay, basically decimal point and significant figures will actually don't complicate between significant figures and decimal point, because decimal point means nombor perpuluhan. Okay, but significant figures can be without nombor perpuluhan. Okay, so you should know how about the trailing zeros, the leading zeros. Okay, zeros in the middle of the numbers. Okay, and of course the last part will be the trailing zeros in a number not containing decimal point, like this. 1, 2, 2, 3, 0, 0 has 6 significant figures or 4 significant figures. Okay, that's why we are saying that this value will have ambiguous. Ambiguous means it contains not just one significant figures, but we can either have 6 significant figures or 4 significant figures. And you know why? Do you know why? Why? Anyone? You know what? Why the significant figures of trailing zeros in a number not containing a decimal point can be ambiguous? Okay? Yeah. Why? Do you have answer? Ambiguous?
Saya nak try boleh sir?
Boleh, try kan?
Maybe sebab nanti yang 1223002 can be 1.223 times 10 power of something itu. Betul sir?
Jadi saya 1.223 times
macam yang
10
Hassan
to the
cakap.
power of.
To the power of. To the power
Okay.
of.
And then?
2, 3, 4, 5, 5.
Oh, untuk 4 significant figures eh? 5 kan? 5 kan? 1.223 4 significant figures kan? Betul. Okay, so kalau 6, okay, kata kalau decimal point, without decimal point, sekarang 1, 2, 2, 3, 0, 0, 1, 2, 2, 3, 0, 0. So kalau kita bilang dengan tangan pun memang 6 significant figures. But how to get 4, macam Amirul cakap tadi, so when we try to change from this number to the scientific notation number. Scientific notation is like this, it become 1.223. Yang zero belakang tu katalah kita tak tulis 1.223 times 10 to the power of 5. So then we can get 4 significant figures. Tapi kalau kita, okay, without any consent or without any reasons, we try to write 1.22300 times 10 to the power of 5. Berapa agak-agak kita punya significant figures? Boleh try? Saya tunjukkan balik One, two, two, 300. Okay. So counted here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 significant figures. So no issues. Okay. 6 significant figures. But if you change it to 1.223 times 10 to the power of 5, then you can get 4 significant figures. Why? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. But if I change it, okay, I want to write it as 1.22300 without any reason times 10 to the power of 5. How many significant figures?
Six.
Huh?
6.
Yes. Okay. Now, for the decimal point, please remember, for decimal point, if you put the decimal point and you put together with the numbers, okay, without any reasons, so it will change its significant figures. Okay. So for example, if we have 1.22300, so everything will be counted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So this will be 6 significant figures, just like this one. Okay. All right. So everything, I think this is okay. Right. So let's continue on our lessons. So this is, for example, how we can apply the significant figures in the calculation. So this is one is taken from your textbook. Okay. Okay, let's, oh sorry, you can see. Present now. This one. Okay, taken from your textbook. Several carpet installers make measurement for carpet installation in the different rooms for a restaurant, reporting the measurement in the inconsistent accuracy. Compute the area A, the banquet hall, the meeting room, and the dining room, taking into account significant figures. So what total area of carpet is required to this room? Okay, so let's look. Now you have length and you have width. Please remember that significant figures will only take place, okay, will only function if the operations, the mathematical operations involved is either multiplications or division. Kali dengan bahagi sahaja. Kalau operation itu tambah, how about tambah, then significant figures won't be affected. And how we do it? Okay, let's look over here. Okay, so count the significant figures. So you have, let's say this is a banquet hall, you have 14.71. Okay, 4 significant figures, and of course banquet hall width is 7.46, 3 significant figures. The answers for these two, okay, now you tekan calculator. Belajar fizik kena tekan calculator. Ada calculator dekat kamu 14.71 times 7.46, so you will get 109.7366, ataupun dia round off kan jadi 74. So when did this significant take place? Macam mana kita nak tahu? Kita nak ambil yang mana? So we should actually write up the significance when it involves the multiplication or division, when this kind of equations, meaning that we should take the least significant figures. Apa maksud least?
Sikit.
Yang paling sikit. Dalam soalan tu ada 4 dan ada 3. Yang mana paling sikit? 3 sahaja.
3.
Yes, 3 sahaja. Okay, so how to write the correct one? So your answer should be 109.74. Look at number 9 and look at to the right of the number 9. You get 7. So 7 is more than 5. Therefore, we should put 110. Okay, the significance that we should write is 110. Even though they still have other decimal point. Okay, why? Because we need to follow the 3 significant figures taken from the questions. Okay, because 3 significant figures is the least significant figures compared to 4. So that's why we need to write down as 110. So do with the meeting room. Okay, so the meeting room have a 4.822 times with 5.1. So 4.822 is 4 significant figures, while width is 2 significant figures. So therefore, we need to write up as 2 significant figures, which is 25 meters square. So it's very important to understand the significant figure. Why? Because in the test, maybe in the test, they will give you a a simple question that is not related to any not related to any subject chapter in physics yet, because you maybe in here, okay, you will learn all the chapters maybe in the week 4 or week 5, but in week 1 you only learn how to do measurements, okay, all those things that are related to units. Okay, so therefore that's why, okay, 2 significant figures, okay, can take place. So make sure you write down, and of course, please look at the value. If you can look at the questions, okay, taking into account significant figures, okay. Nampak? Taking into account significant figures. So meaning that they really wants you to answer the questions using significant figures punya rule. Right? So for example, last one, dining room times dining room length and width. So how many significant figures should we follow?
1.
1. And how to write 1 if the answer is more than one significant figures? 13.8 times 9 is equivalent to what? Equivalent to 124.2. How to do it? Okay, so let me first, no problem, we just go to the decimal point. So this one is related to decimal point, 16.74 plus 5.1. Okay, so we take the least decimal point for the mathematical problems. The mathematical operations involve addition, tambah, and also tolak. Okay, so we should take the least significant as the least decimal point. Okay, so this is the scientific notation. Okay, this one is a scientific notation. I hope everybody have already okay with the scientific notation. Okay, because from the scientific notation, we can actually learn about significant figures. This is the concept of round off error. Make sure if you do the calculation, make sure the errors or the round off, the value, the decimal point, you should at least round off when it involves the final answers only. Don't round off in the middle of the calculations, because then you will get value that's not really accurate compared to the final answers. Okay, so when you do have, let's say, do the operations, and lastly you get 124.283. Lastly, then you round off, but don't round off in the middle of the calculations. Okay, so it will give you something that's not correct in terms of final answers. So the last the last part. I think other than we learn about the conversions of units. Okay, how to do a how to convert the units. It's not just as simple as 1 meter to 3.821 feet and so on, but it will be more complicated when it comes to the real situations. Okay, let's say in here we can actually convert 28 meter per seconds uh, uh, to the mile per hour. Okay, so let's look at what we should do. Okay, so if you do have 28 meter per seconds and how to convert it to mile per hour, okay, so we should do it separately between meter. Okay, you can see here, this is meter and miles. So that's okay, we should convert from meter to mile, and of course you must convert second to hour. So make sure second cannot be converted to miles. Okay, meter to miles, second to hour. So you must make sure you should convert it accordingly. Okay, not just rumble up all everything. Okay, so you have 28 meter per seconds. Okay, don't put it side by side. You should put it in the numerator and also denominator. So if you want to cancel the numerator, meaning that you want to cancel meter and replace it with the miles, so like video said, you should do a parenthesis like this. Okay, okay, so of course if m meter is on the numerator, so you should put m on the denominator in the brackets. Okay, so how to do it? Miles and also miles and also meters. So 1 miles is equivalent to, okay, is equivalent to 160.9 meter. Okay. Okay, that is approximate value, right? Approximate to 1 miles. And of course, you want to convert second. Okay. So second is on the denominator, belah bawah. So we should put it at 3,600 second equivalent to 1 hour. Why? Because we want to convert it from second to hour. And now our job is to do cancellation. So meter to meter and second to second. So the final answer should be 28 times 1 mile times 3,600 over 1609 times with 1 hour. So that will give you a certain values. How many? Final answer should be equivalent to 1.74 10 power of negative 2 no, I'm wrong. Should be the answer should be 62.6 miles per hour. Okay, so that is the conversion, unit conversion. So let's try to imagine if you want to do let's say 14 meter per second square and you want to convert it to kilometer per hour square. How to do it? Okay, very simple. You have 14 meter per seconds. So right now, as I said, you want to convert it to from meter to kilometer and from second square to hour square. So make sure what should we put okay, on the numerator and denominator. So the seconds, okay, remember second square and meter per second square and meter. So 1000 meters equivalent to 1 kilometer. Okay, that's enough already for the meters. And how about seconds? Okay, so for the seconds and for the parameter that have square or maybe cubic value, okay, so uh, don't feel bad about it. You should put it outside. Okay, you should put it outside square. So leaving that 3600 seconds is equivalent to 1 hour. Okay, 1 hour. All right, so we can actually cancel out m and also m, and s square can be cancelled to s square. Okay, so how to write down the equations? 14 times 1 kilometer times with 3000 square over 1000 times 1 square hour square. Okay, remember these things. Don't forget AB square. Jawapan dia apa? A square B square. Maknanya everybody in the bracket must be square. Yang tadi kita potong S square saja, tapi sebenarnya 3600 pun square juga. Yang ni yang selalu pelajar-pelajar lupa. Macam mana, kenapa tak square kan? Whenever you do the you do the calculations. Okay, so punch down the calculators so you can get the value in kilometer per hour square. Ada soalan? You have questions? Okay. So let's continue our lessons. Okay. Okay, this one here is some things that discussed in your videos by Dr. Kwan. So, all right. So that will end the part one of the chapter 1. So the chapter 1 is already done. But in this week, we should learn also a little bit of the chapter 3. Okay, chapter 3 that involve the vectors. Sorry, chapter 2. Chapter 3 or chapter 2, I'm not sure. But it involved the vectors. Okay. Okay, have you watched the videos, the second video? And the third video, have you watched it?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Do you have any points that you want to ask me or you want me to explain a little bit in terms of vectors and properties or whatsoever? Or maybe you can understand the whole concept of vector. Okay. All right, so let's continue on the vectors and their properties, such as vectors and scalars. Of course, the scalar quantity has only magnitude and the vector quantity has magnitude and direction. Ini daripada tingkatan 4 lagi pun dah belajar kan. Scalar quantity, vector quantity, apa benda kan. What is scalar, what is a vector. Okay, so vector is represented by an arrow, and when the vector quantity is handwritten, it is often represented when arrow over the letter. Okay, normally we put A. Okay, kita letak A dekat depan dia tu. Mana tadi? Okay, we normally put A because we cannot manage to put bold ataupun italic pada kita punya tulisan ya. Ada setengah tulisan orang tu memang ada jenis italic je. Macam mana nak buat vector? Okay, we should put vectors, we should put the notations, we should put the copy over the consonant A or maybe for the vector A. Okay, instead of we do bold the consonant A. Okay, so that will be the magnitude of vector. Equality of vectors, so two vectors are equal, they have the same magnitude and same directions. Movement of vectors in the diagram is equivalent, parallel. So we are saying here that all vectors, okay, should be if they have the same identical values, so the length should be the same. Ya, vektor ini bukan sesuatu yang asing, tapi lebih kepada cara kita nak dapatkan, kita nak make sure, contoh dia panjang. Ini panjang. So panjang tu macam mana kita ukur dia, kita ambil, so that is vector lah. So that's why nama dia ada magnitude. Okay. But with the certain, with the additions of the direction, addition maksud dia, okay, kalau nak lebih vektor macam mana ayat dia? Maksud dia 10 meter ke kanan, 10 meter ke arah kiri, 10 meter ke arah atas, bawah. Okay, kadang-kadang dia tak nak guna tu. Kadang-kadang vektor pula dia boleh ada dalam bentuk theta. Apa bentuk theta? Bentuk yang lebih ke arah direction. Maksud dia, contoh dia bagi kompas punya dah. North, south, east, west. Okay, so that is something you should understand. Vector is not just kiri, kanan, atas, bawah. Okay, itu je. Okay, it can be in other method. Kan boleh dalam bentuk, dia boleh jadi dalam bentuk theta, dalam bentuk angle. Kenapa dalam bentuk angle? Okay, so we'll see. So adding vectors graphically, so you can have two methods. Graphically means graphical. Maksud kita buat dalam bentuk graphical. Graphical ni dalam bentuk lukisan ataupun sketch. Biasanya kalau nak sketch vector ataupun lukis, draw the vectors, you must draw it properly. You must put an angle. You must use an exact value. Mana dia kalau dia kata 10 unit. Kan? So 10 unit tu awak anggap macam contoh dia. Okay, 10 unit kita anggap macam 10 cm lah. Kan? So kena draw 10 cm. Ambil meter ruler, garis. Adakah dia duduk horizontal? Adakah dia duduk vertical? Adakah dia duduk ada angle? So benda tu kita kena consider. Contoh dia macam soalan ni. Okay. So you have A and you have B. Okay, vector A and also vector B. And what is R? R is the resultant vector. R is a resultant vector. So what is resultant vector? So after A, after B, we can get R. Kenapa? Because they are using tip to tail method. What is tip to tail method? So let's say you are drawing a vector A. Vector A is pointing to the right, pointing to your right, horizontally. Okay, and of course, at the end of vector A, you put vector B. So where is vector B? So vector B duduk dekat situ. Dia naik macam ada angle sikit, dia tak sama horizontal dengan vector A. So tip to tail method will give you, okay, from the first point of vector A until the last point of vector B, that should give you the resultant of vector A plus vector B. And of course, if you ask me about graphical method, yes, there is another one. How to do a graphical method is using a parallelogram. Maybe this one is quite familiar to you. Okay? Parallelogram. How to do a parallelogram? You can watch the videos of the lecturers explaining about parallelogram. But in here, I want to mention about tip to tail method because this is more relevant to you, because with the tip to tail method, it doesn't just solving between two vectors, but you can also solve the vectors of more than two vectors. Okay, we can get the resultants. Let's say from this question, A plus B plus C plus D, you can get what? Get resultants. Where is it? Here. From the initial point of the initial point and to the last point. Initial to last. Okay, initial point to last point. Any questions so far? You have a question?
No.
No?
No, sir.
Very well. Semua faham kan? Yep. So let's look for another presentations about how to draw vectors. Okay, so let's look at the adding vectors graphically. So this is adding vectors graphically again. So this is what we call as stick to tail method, starting from point A, okay, and it goes to this point, and then it will continue. And at this point, here, here we continue with the vector B. Of course, vector B will have its own theta. Okay. Okay. And of course, we can get the resultant vectors. Okay, resultant vectors combine vector A and vector B. Okay, so right, just look at these figures for a moment. Okay, so let's continue. Okay, so this is the vectors that I want you all to see. Okay, you have a vector A and vector B. So vector A is 60, is saying here, vector A have 5 meters with theta 60 degree above the x-axis. So this is your x-axis. Okay. Here, okay. This is x-axis and this is y-axis. Okay, and of course vector A is 60 degree. Okay, 60 degree above the x-axis. And B, vector B is 4 meters, 20 degree above the x-axis. So it's very impossible to draw 5 meters. Like I'm saying now, we should do the correct or the exact scales of the vector. Okay, the exact scales of the vector. Let's say if you are 5 meters, then you should draw not draw 5 meters. How can you draw 5 meters on the paper? Okay, you draw 5 centimeters, and of course you should state that you are using 1 centimeters that equivalent to 1 meter. So you should put that scale down there. Okay, 1 centimeters is equivalent to 1 meter. So that's how you draw the 1 meters length, 5 meters length, and 60 degree above the x-axis, and 4 meters 20 degrees above the x-axis. But you can look here, we still using the tip to tail method, because at point A, at the end of point A, at about here, okay, then you draw another Cartesian coordinates over here. Okay, you draw x, another x and y. And of course, this is 20 degree as stated in the conditions, 20 degree. So that's why you get B. And of course, the purple one will be C, or should I call this as R? Okay, R. Okay, R means resultant vectors. Okay, resultant vectors. So the resultant vector stands for A plus B is equivalent to vector A plus vector B. So by using the graphical, you should actually draw the C from the beginning of vector A here, okay, beginning of vector A at about here, and of course at the end of vector B. So that will give you delta vector C, or vector resultants. So when you have a resultants vectors, so you draw and you all have to measure the scale. So that will give you 8.75 meters as the answers. So it's quite easy. It's very straightforward for you to get the answers from the drawing. But not all drawings will solve the problems, especially when you are not using the exact scale. Or you may have a problem of finding a meter rulers whatsoever, or maybe you don't have a protractor to do the angle. So that will give you quite impossible to draw using a vector quantity. Okay, to how to solve the resultants. Okay, so therefore we go to the next part, which means using how to add the vectors. Okay, the vector A plus vector B is equivalent to vector B plus vector A. Don't worry about the notations. It's quite wrong, because I don't know what happened to when transferred from the graph, transferred from the iPad to the normal one. It's okay. Subtracting vector graphically. How to do a subtracting? So vector A plus minus B. So vector A, we have vector A minus vector B. So if we have vector A minus vector B, so it's actually saying that vector A plus negative vector B. So that is the real meaning of vector A minus B. Okay, vector A minus vector B is actually equivalent to vector A plus negative vector B. What does it mean by negative vector B? Meaning that vector A, if A, then okay, A is positive, but how about negative B? Negative B means if you do have vector B, then the negative is actually because of the directions of the B. Okay, so that's what we is given in the in the figures. Okay, you can see, so this is vector B. Okay, so the negative B should be exactly the same value of B, but in the okay, opposing the B. So the directions of negative B is actually against the B, but with the same length. Panjang dia sama, cuma jarak dia, dia punya directions dia saja yang berlainan. So that's why we are saying that vector A minus vector B. Okay, so these are the questions. For example, a car due to a car travels 20 kilometers due north and then 35 kilometers in a direction 60 degree west of north, as in figures 3.6. Using a graph, find the magnitude and directions of a single vectors that give the net effects of the car's trip. So first, the travels due north. So this one, due north, okay, and then 35 kilometers in a direction 60 degree west of north. What does it mean by west of north? Tapi ingat lagi dia punya bearing punya sistem. Okay, kalau kita buat tu kan dia ada kat sebelah tu. So maksud dia, if we have east, west, south and north. So west of north, tengok west of north. Atas tu, west of north. Okay, cara nak baca lah, kita baca macam mana kita nak tahu angle dia kat mana kan? Antara west dengan north ke, antara north dengan west ke, kita tak tahu. So kalau dia kata due north, straight away kita dapat yang ni lah. This one, yang mana kali biru. So this is north. So that is vector A. Lepas tu, dia kata 60 degree west of north. So where is west of north? Ingat, west of north kita baca daripada belakang dulu. Baca daripada north kepada west. Oh, daripada north kepada west. So dekat sini. So dekat sini dia punya theta dia. So that is 60 degree. Okay. So angle is taken from north to west. And then using the tip to tail method, you join the initial point of vector A to the final point of vector B to get the resultants. Okay. Okay. Slowly ya. Okay ke? Semua boleh ikut ke?
Yes.
Boleh sir.
Yes, sir.
Ada saya punya suara jelas ke ataupun tersangkut-sangkut?
Jelas.
Jelas.
Okay.
Jelas.
Okay.
Baik.
Ada kawan-kawan awak ada kawan-kawan awak yang ni, so tak apa, kita slowly lagi pun saya akan record, I will record these things and then put it insyaAllah in my YouTube channels, but bukan sekarang lah. That's why kalau tak dapat tu tak apa, nanti boleh stream balik. Okay. Okay, so that's how you do it by drawing. Okay, you solve the problems using drawing. Alright, so let's move to the other parts, which means components of vectors. So this how you solve the problems using components of vectors. Okay, so let's see if you let's proceed to this part. Okay, can you still remember about this? Okay, AX, AY ni. Tahu lagi ke tak macam mana? Apa signifikan dia? Apa masih ingat lagi benda ni? Okay, if you do have vector A, okay, kamu ada vector A, if you do have vector A, okay, and you must always remember that vector A will come with the components. So the components is like this. If vector A is pointing to that directions, the vector, the components will point, will combine to point this way. And normally, if the horizontal one is the x, so we are saying that this is the ax. Ax. Okay, and on the vertical part, this is a y. Okay, ax and ay. So that's why we should understand when there is a vector, okay, it's just not the vector, it must be contributed by its component. So apart from finding the resultant through the drawings, through the tip-to-tail methods of drawings, so the first thing or the most accurate one when try to deal with the something that related to vector is using vector components. So these are the how you do the vector component. So you must really understand how to derive the components. Okay, so if you are given A, and of course you have theta, okay, in between vector A, the blue one, okay, let's say this is your theta, and you have A and you have AX. So okay, obviously, okay, you can easily state that AX is equivalent to A cos theta. Okay, how can I know about A cos theta is equivalent to AX? Huh? Okay, so that's why I'm saying that AY will be equals to A sin theta. Why? Because theta doesn't include between, does not in between vector A, the blue one, and the AY. So if the theta, okay, easily, maksudnya kalau kita nak macam mana pun, always look at the theta. Always refer to the theta. Okay, let's say if you do have like this, okay, vector F, okay, and theta is over here, and this is Fy, and this is Fx. So can you name me what is the Fx? Boleh seorang bagi tahu saya what is Fx? Agak-agak. Tengok theta dekat mana? Theta dekat Fy dengan F. So kalau theta dekat Fy dengan F, siapa yang akan dapat cos theta? Okay. So Fx akan jadi F sin theta, Fy akan jadi F cos theta. So dulu masa sekolah dulu, cikgu-cikgu kita selalu cakap, bukan cikgu selalu bagi tahu hafal sahaja ini. No, don't just memorize all these things, because Ax doesn't always equals to A cos theta. That is because theta, normally during your school days, theta tu selalu duduk dekat Ax. Theta tu selalu duduk dekat sini. Tapi dalam soalan sebenar, theta tak semestinya duduk dekat situ. Okay, theta akan sentiasa berubah. Kadang-kadang dia duduk dekat Y, kadang-kadang dia duduk dekat X. So that's how you determine, easily determine. Senang je. Tengok theta dekat mana, tahu dah. Okay, AX jadi apa, AY jadi apa. Okay, kita tengok straight away kepada penggunaan dia. Okay, and of course, when people ask you how to get cos and sine, so that is due to the Pythagoras theorem. And because of that Pythagoras theorem, why? Sebab ni, katalah AY ni dekat situ, okay, ada kat atas tu. Now you bring to this side, AY. So nampak tak? A is equivalent to AX plus AY square root. That is a Pythagoras theorem. A equivalent to AX plus AY. Right? A is equivalent to AX plus AY. Right? So that's how you get the magnitude punya equations. So the magnitude will be, AX square plus AY square is equivalent to A, because this is a Pythagoras theorem. Remember, Pythagoras theorem states that AX, kan, macam seolah-olah kita buat A dekat sini, B dekat sini, C dekat sini. A, B, C, kan. So Pythagoras theorem bagi tahu C square sama dengan A square plus B square. So C bersama dengan A square plus B square square root. Okay. A square sama dengan plus B square square root. So sama juga dengan ni, the magnitude of A is getting from AX square plus AY square square root. And of course, you can see here, this is only magnitude. And how to get the direction? The direction they are using theta. As I'm saying, direction is just not just to the left, to the right, to the bottom, to the top. Not just that direction, but it also involves theta. It also involves directions using theta. Why theta? Because in the Cartesian coordinates, okay, in the Cartesian coordinates, we start at here. Okay, we start at here, 0 degree, and of course 90 degrees. It goes to 180. It goes to 270, and then it goes back to the 360 degree. And of course, the 360 degrees is also equivalent to 0 degree. So when we are saying theta, theta is also part of the direction. Okay. All right. Of course, we do have a problem over here. You can always find vectors, component, and magnitude directions. Okay. Please use my notes. Use to solve the problems. Okay. So let's look at how can we solve the problems of like we did just now using the graphical methods, but right now we are using much more components method. Okay, so let's say the same questions. Okay, the same questions. 5 meters theta is 60 degree. Okay, 5 meters theta is 60 degree, and vector B is 4 meters. Theta is 20 degrees above the x-axis. Find C. Okay, so using ruler and protractor, we get C is equivalent to 8.75. So this one will be the value that using meter ruler. Okay, meter ruler, right? So this is just a drawing, and of course on the bottom part, so C from A itself. Okay, so from A. Okay, you may find that they have to derive the AX and AY. In order to solve the problem of C, you need to derive a vector from the vector A. You must derive its component with this, which is component AX and component AY, and together with component of B, vector B. Okay. So component of vector B and component of vector A now become AX and AY. And then of course, AX plus with BX so that you can get CX. And AY we plus with PY to get CY. Okay, and of course when you have that answers, then the value will be 8.47 meters. Okay, that is approximately equivalent to what we just draw using meter, using scale and ruler and protector. Of course, the value, which one is more accurate? Which one is more accurate? Look at the theta. Theta over here is 45 and theta over here is 42.3. Which one is more accurate?
42.3.
Okay, so the most accurate final answer should be using the components method. Okay, so that's why components is very important. It can solve all problems regarding vectors. That's why we need to understand much in terms of components. Okay, but not to forget about how can we solve the problem using ruler and protector. Yeah, this is also part of the vectors, meaning that there is more simpler methods, but it's not as accurate as the components. So that's why you need to understand here. Okay, always try to solve the problems using a components, and if stated using the meter ruler, you should do a meter ruler, of course draw a graphical methods, but please understand the concepts here. And then here is the first part of the marks given by us. Always start with the components, and then this part is the magnitude, and of course the last part will be directions. So in vector you must have a components, magnitude and directions. You cannot go beyond that things. Okay, so you must have all these things. Then you can get the correct answers, and of course you get the exact value, more accurate value compared to the one that you draw. Okay, so this is the concepts of solving problems from your textbook also. A hiker begins a trip by first walking 25 kilometers 45 degree south of east. Okay, 45 degrees south of east kat mana? Kena check balik. So kenapa 45 degrees tu dekat situ. Okay. From her base camp on the second day, she walks 40 kilometers in direction north of east, at which point she discovered a forest ranger's tower. Okay. Determine the components of the hiker's displacement in the first and second days. Okay, then can have the problems. Okay, this is the problem that facing by the hiker. Obviously, okay, you can either use drawing or maybe you can use the graphical method. Using the components method. Both of them is acceptable. But you should know when they ask you about determine, like part A, determine the components of the hiker's displacement in the first and second days. Okay, 45, 25 kilometers, 45 degrees south of east. Where is south of east? Ke bawah kan? So duduk dekat sini lah. So that's why first dia ini dulu. South of east. Okay, where is 45 degrees? Tengok ayat dia, south of east. Baca daripada belakang, maksudnya kita kena start daripada east dulu. Okay, so south of east. Sebab tu 45 tu awak nampak dia tunjuk kat situ. 45 degrees south of east and 40 kilometers in direction. After that, at this point, dia nak buat T-tail method, dia buat 40 kilometers, 60 degree north of east. So dekat sini pula dia buat lagi satu compass. Okay, north of east, so and of E, baca daripada belakang. Okay, baca daripada belakang maksudnya baca daripada east. So daripada east pergi kepada north. So therefore, that's why 60 dia kat situ. And then of course, R is the resultant. Okay, that's how they have to sketch the problem. And that is the how they solve until. Tengok belah atas ni kalau boleh semua dia nak ceritakan mengenai components. Okay, and then afterwards combine. After combine, ini magnitude, ini direction. Sama sahaja jalan kira dia. Magnitude, ada direction. Ada component, ada magnitude, ada direction. Simple. Okay, so that's how you solve the problems using vector components. Okay. Do you have any problems, or do you have something in your mind to say? Can say it. Anyone? You want to say? You want to have to ask anything? Do you have a questions in your mind or what? Anyone? Boleh faham tak?
Boleh.
Understand.
Boleh.
Faham.
Boleh saya faham.
Oh, okay. Wow. Okay, so Alhamdulillah kalau faham, and then you can probably start doing your tutorial 1. We still have a bit of multiplications of vectors. Just now we did the subtraction and addition of the vectors. Okay, we still have multiplication, but that's just, I want to not concentrate more on that part because it's just to touch in terms of dot product and cross product. We will see these things again in the few chapters in front, like chapter 5 and also chapter 8. Okay, and hopefully everybody can understand these topics wisely, because this is the most important part, because you learn about vector here. Okay, when you learn about vectors, the vector will be used, okay, in the next few chapters, and instead of that, we also use the vectors punya concept in the next semester. Sikit lah, ada sikit bahagian vector punya konsep tu kita akan belajar lagi pada semester hadapan. So that is very important. That's why if you do have a problem, please rectify right now or during our tutorial sessions. Okay, kalau tak faham apa semua nak tanya part ni, and try to do the tutorial 1, okay, immediately supaya you boleh dapat grab the idea of vectors. Okay, kalau boleh do some revisions, not afterwards, maybe lepas tidur ke apa ke, supaya dia dapat tangkap lebih banyak. Okay, so I think if you don't have any more questions, then I will stop here. We will continue insyaAllah next week, same time, same link. Okay, and hopefully for those yang tak accept invitation saya tu, tolong accept dulu.